Hi, Shalom Chaverim. One of the greatest gifts bestowed upon mankind is the gift of friendship. Those of us that have friends sometimes appreciate it and sometimes we don't. But one thing is for sure, when we don't have friends, we actually feel it, big time. There's a sense of loneliness. But what makes a friend and how to define friendship is a very, very complex issue because there are many forms of friendship. I offer this as an introduction because strangely, God, who we address as our Father, and whom we address as our King, can also be seen as our friend. Now, obviously, God is not the friend that you would imagine playing tennis with. But when one thinks about what is friendship and what it means to a human being and the strength that it offers, then we could actually see these qualities emanating from a divine source. Very interesting story I read from Sarah Rigler. She lives in Israel, and she went with her family on some nature reserve. And in this nature reserve, there was a lot of hiking, a lot of trails. And then there was one part of the trail that sort of had a sign saying, for more experienced hikers only. So her two teenage children do what always children do. When they look at their mother and say, Ma, this is not for you, as if to say, you can't do it, we can. So it'll take us an hour and a half. We'll climb to the top. We'll go to the summit. We'll take a couple of pictures maybe, and we'll come back. And she said, fine. And in order to make this experience more authentic, they took out their cell phones and they gave it to her to hold because they're going on a hike. They're communicating and communing with nature. Okay, she sits down. She does her reading. And an hour and a half passes, and then 2 hours pass, and she's getting a little apprehensive. They should be back by now. And when she's just about getting from the mildly anxious to becoming agitated, she sees her son walking towards her, no girl. Her son, I think the name was Yitzchak, says, Mom, we have a little problem over here. What's the problem? How's your sister? Where is she? Is she hurt? Well, this is the problem. We climbed up and we came to a cliff area. So we had to actually go off the path and go to a protruding rock where it's a magnificent sight. And then we have to climb back onto the trail. And my sister, your daughter, for some reason or other, seeing the height in which she was, became paralyzed with fright. And she's very, very frightened of going back onto the path because she thinks that what happens if she slips? She'll slip right off the rock. And I tried to explain, this is what he says to his mother, I tried to explain to her, I'll hold your hand, and it's not as narrow as you think. If it was dangerous, they wouldn't allow people to be here. We could do it, but something snapped almost in her mind, and she says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not taking a chance. If you want me to be saved, rescue me. So here I am. Ma, what do we do? So she was becoming more and more agitated. She quickly got a map. On the bottom there was for emergency numbers. She calls up and she says, my daughter is on a cliff and she can't get up and it's an emergency. So they try to calm her down. Tell us where you are. We'll meet you in a couple of minutes. Maybe 8 or to 10 minutes later, a truck comes up. It has all kinds of medical first aid in the back of the truck, and out walk two really, strong, tall rangers, Israelis. And they say to the lady and her son, where is your sister? Is she hurt? Do we need like a pulley for the stretcher? She says she's not hurt, she's just petrified. So they turn to the mother and they say, you know what, you continue praying and we'll arrange everything, don't worry. She says, when she writes this article, she says, I wasn't sure if they were supposed to reassure me or not, but that's not a good words of reassurance. Keep praying. In any case, they go with the boy to the place on the heights, and maybe 20 minutes later, they all come back safe and sound. Of course, after a lot of hugs, Mom says to the girl, "What happened?" She says, "I got too frightened. I just couldn't move." "Well, did they lift you?" "No, they didn't lift me. I walked back myself." "How did they do it?" She said, "You saw the tall guy? The guy's built like a giant. He climbed down and he said to me, 'Young lady, walk upwards.'" And I said, "I'm not walking. What happens if I slip?" And he said, "Don't worry, I'm going to be right behind you." And he said it in Hebrew, "Ani choma, I am a wall. You won't knock me off my perch. So you do the walking, you do the climbing, and you don't have to worry about slipping backwards because I am a wall behind you." She says, "You know what? When I felt secure that there was someone behind me, I was able to climb." Now, this is such a nice story. It's not made up, and it could go in so many different directions. But what is a friend? There are friends that you ask for advice, and then there are friends you go for companionship and enjoyment, and then there are those friends that really want to help you and really want to advise you, and they want to feel your pain, and so on. And then there's that rare friend who says, "I can't live your life. You have to live your life. But I tell you what I will do. I will be the wall behind you. You never ever have to worry about slipping because I am your friend. I am here for you. So if you're going to make mistakes, it's your mistakes. If you're going to have successes, it's your successes. I cannot change or make believe that your problems can be wiped away with one or two words of me. But I'm not giving you advice. I'm giving you my presence. I am a wall. I am behind you. With that knowledge and security, people are able to overcome their fright and apprehension. In life, Hashem gives us strength and gives us the ability to make choices. And there are times when we get into big trouble. We did the wrong choice. And it's very hard to extricate ourselves. And at that time, we could appeal to God's mercy. Please help me. Please schlep me out. Take me out of this mud. Take me out of this quagmire. And God, of course, can and will do that. But then there's another level where even if you don't see that helping hand, that fiery hand coming from above, know that you're not abandoned. God is your wall. He is behind you. And if you actually, on your own, make an honest attempt to get out of this quagmire, you don't have to worry about slipping again. Because the Beirei Olam, the creator of heaven and earth, is surrounding you. He is protecting you. You are secure. I'm sure there are many, many other lessons one could derive from this particular true story, and I'll leave it up to you. In the meantime, when we look at one another, realize that in the various levels of friendship, perhaps the most eloquent is the one where you say nothing, but you're just there. Shalom and good luck.